distinct pleasure of introducing our guest speaker, Adam Carter. Adam is the chief librarian for
Craig.
You
did it again.
What did I do wrong?
Craig. It's not Carter.
Craig, sorry, Craig. That's what I said, you know.
Carter.
I guess I gotta turn the page on this one. And anyway, he's the chief librarian for the Essex County Library. He said his life is an open book. What can I say? Look, I don't have much to say about Adam, but he's a wonderful guy, and I'm sure he will tell us. He'll be much more better off in telling us a bit about himself before he starts than I would. All right, so
Obviously.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Adam Craig, and I am the chief librarian from Essex County Library, which is slightly different from Windsor Public Library. Similar mandates.
Maybe even better.
Maybe even better, but this is being recorded, so that keep that to itself. So I've been with the library for 3 years. Before that, I was with Windsor Public, and I understand one of your past members was Chris Woodrow.
Yeah,
he's a good friend of mine. Thank you. And before that, I actually started my career with Essex County Library, so I've just sort of been ping-ponging back and forth across the county. But what I was racking my brain to think about what I could talk about today, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of provide a snapshot of some of the things we've been doing over the last year, starting in late 2024 with some of our successes from there, and then what we've been doing in 2025. And then I'm going to kind of wrap it up with where we're headed in terms of the work that we're doing now. So we closed 2024 on a very high note for libraries with record-breaking program attendance. We expanded our community partnerships. We saw considerable growth in both physical and digital, so ebook circulation. Our attendance in programming in 2024 surpassed 77,000 adults, seniors, teens, and children. That was a 62% increase over 2023. This was fueled in large part by an increase in drop-in activities, family-oriented programs, creative initiatives like we ran a community cleanup project. We did a number of community partner-driven events. We developed a Lego mosaic that was sort of built by the community. That growth includes a 50% increase in children's attendance in our programming, I had to double check this again, but 183% growth in teen program attendance, which is historically for libraries, we struggle with teenagers. And then a 79% increase in attendance from adults. We also saw some pretty dramatic changes in 2024 at the Tecumseh branch, which is over here on St. Mary's. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to visit us there, but we opened that space up. We brightened it. We made it more of an inviting space for families, for community groups to visit us. We addressed a number of outstanding accessibility issues. It's really, we call a project like this a facelift, but it really was more of a complete overhaul of that branch. And while we're still waiting for our 2025 usage numbers to come in, anecdotally, that project created a bit of a community buzz, which led to more families, more community groups, more students coming in and using that branch. So the renovations at the Tecumseh branch and progress towards a new Cotton branch underscored 2024 as a year of renewal for the Essex County Library. Digital initiatives, pilot collections demonstrated our responsiveness to what our community needs, and test runs like new video game collection. So we're actually a little bit behind as far as Canadian libraries go in that we just launched a collection of video game young people can come in and borrow video games from us now. And then things like literacy aids for young readers, which is something that's sort of our stock and trade. But we've really expanded that and put some time, energy, and focus into making sure that we have everything for young readers to succeed. We also did things like made changes to our online calendar to make it more usable. We've added new self-service options for our patrons. And I think all of that, again, highlights our commitment to the community. So building on the momentum from 2024, we've had a lot of strong initiatives and a lot of great results from the work that we've been doing this year. We reopened the Stony Point branch. We were in the news quite a bit earlier this year and last year because we've had that branch opened and closed for facilities issues. We're finally back on our feet out there and back to delivering the service that that community has been asking for so long. We've continued to grow our system-wide programming in terms of the scale. So we're doing bigger events, we're doing more diverse events, we're trying new things. And then we've done new initiatives that are centered around different types of literacy. So we're offering products that encourage young people to learn about coding, for example, and STEM initiatives. We've also hosted a series of cybersecurity events working alongside the OPP in the county in a couple of our branches. And then to bring it kind of closer to home, we have what we're calling the Active Living Collection, which is being lent out of Tecumseh, which includes things like tennis rackets, pickleball rackets, those walking sticks.
Poles.
Yeah, the poles. And all of this, I think, taken together has really broadened what the definition of library service is. This is a trend in libraries across Canada right now. It's sort of expanding beyond just books to things, again, like video games, pickleball rackets, and so on. Another big highlight for us this year was our seed library, which has been incredibly popular over the last 5 years. So every spring, we distribute packets of seeds to the community, coming with your library. I mean, technically, it's not a checkout because we're not asking for anything back, but the last 5 years taken together, we've distributed over 30,000 packets of seeds. So very proud of the fact that the library has helped to start a lot of new gardeners out there across the county. One of the things that we're most proud of at the library is the way that we've been able to engage residents of all ages. So this year was our second Read for Your Municipality Challenge. This was a big internet, got a lot of attention on the internet for this one, but we inspired our communities across the county in 2 months to log over 177,000 pages. So we've encouraged a little bit of friendly competition, and this presentation doesn't reflect this, but just yesterday we have the results. The municipality of Essex won the competition, but Tecumseh came in a very close second this year. So creating a little bit of friendly competition, but also working to include stronger reading habits. And this competition was open to all ages. At the same time, our adult programming has grown with sessions on memory, dementia, fraud prevention, topics that we think matter deeply, and we're hearing matter deeply to our seniors and our families. For our younger audiences, we're doing creative programs like STEM activities, little art shows, escape rooms, and so on. Add to that the new partnerships that we've been working on. We've been doing a lot of outreach to places like Peewee Island. We've been working with community groups in Amherstburg and other municipalities. We can see now that the modern library is aiming at serving people at all stages of life and encouraging lifelong learning. Looking ahead, we've got the completion of the Cotton branch coming in just over 2 weeks. We'll be opening that branch. We've been expanding the availability of digital tools like our mobile app, so encouraging our patrons to take things into their own hands. They can place their own holds, they can find their own materials. We have a new self-serve book club kit portal. So the library runs a number of book clubs across the county on a weekly basis, but we also encourage our patrons to take things into their own hands as well and organize their own sort of in-home book clubs. We're working to strengthen both our internal and our external operations to make the patron experience more seamless and more accessible. So one of the things that we've done in the last little bit is worked on our strategic plan. So part of that was working out a new mission and vision statement, and then as well as, sorry, I keep hitting the wrong button.
Cursor.
We've established a new set of core values that we intend on using to drive all of our projects going forward. And at the heart of all of this, we're guided by these values that put community and learning first. So responsiveness, adaptability, service excellence. This is all meant to ensure that our programs and collections evolve alongside the needs of our residents, while the idea of keeping everything accessible guarantees that every person in this county, regardless of their background, language, age, or ability, can participate in what we have to offer. These commitments position the library not only as a trusted source of books and resources, which I think is really what everybody thinks of when they think of the library, but also as an inclusive hub where we can nurture literacy through our programs and through lifelong learning. By providing spaces that remove barriers and emphasize empowerment, we are trying to affirm our role in helping individuals gain knowledge, skills, and the confidence to thrive. These values that you have on the screen also serve as the foundation for community building for us. The library is more than a place to borrow materials. It's a cornerstone of civic engagement. This is a real focus for us right now. It's getting people out, getting people active, and keeping them informed about what's going on in their communities, where our programs are meant to spark dialogue, partnerships are meant to foster shared growth between community groups, and people of all ages can come together to connect. So literacy in this context extends beyond reading and is meant to include things like digital fluency, cultural awareness, and informed participation in the community. By prioritizing empowerment and lifelong learning, we're aiming to strengthen the social fabric of Essex County and create opportunities for residents to not only access information, but also to share, contribute, and to belong. So that's sort of my short, realistically, I can talk for hours about libraries. I love what we do. I think we're one of the most important community institutions out there. And I'm really proud of the work that we're doing and the response that we've had from the citizens of Essex County. It's been, I came to the library about 3 years ago, almost exactly 3 years ago, and it's been really fantastic to have invitations like I had this morning to come and speak with you, but also to see the response that we've had in the community and the impact that we're making there. So that's my short form, but I would be happy to answer any questions. I'd like making these into a conversation. Yes, sir.
Adam, years ago, our club partnered with Bagley Public School for their ESL program. Does the library do, or are they considering running an ESL on things specifically for our seasonal or our migrant workforce, greater Leamington, as well as come see it at the old Green Giant plant? There's a number of countries where the people that are coming, English is not the dominant language.
So historically, we haven't done a whole lot of that. What we do in a case like that, because one of the things that we consider when we're developing a program is what are our staff best at? And so something like that, we would look for a community partner to come in and run. We've hosted, actually here in Tecumseh, we've hosted a couple of conversation circles. So people can come in, they meet with a group, and they can just sort of practice speaking English. That's about as close as we get right now, but it's certainly something that we've looked at.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Can you talk a little bit about a library system? How many branches do you have in Essex County, and how are you funded? How is it different than what the city library system is?
So we are 14 branches across the county, from Amherstburg all the way up to Stony Point is our furthest east. And our funding comes through the County of Essex. So in each of these probably sort of kick in a little bit. Yes, sir.
I enjoy audiobooks because, well, once again, I struggle sometimes with reading, especially if it's fine print. And what's happening in that whole area?
So what we're seeing is a fairly steady migration from books on disc. So you remember CDs, and they would come in like an 8-disc set, which were really kind of cumbersome. With mobile technology, phones becoming so ubiquitous, we have a platform now that we're using that supports ebooks and e-audiobooks. So it's less about carrying around a big packet of CDs, and now you can download just about anything that's available to your phone as an audiobook. Much simpler to use. And I mean, if that were something you were interested in, come and join us and we can have one of our staff walk you through. It's a very simple sort of one-stop shopping experience. Yeah.
So this question is based on an experience. I live in Tecumseh, and 20 years ago, I took my children to the children's programs. My youngest quite enjoyed it, and the librarian during the spring, all the children exited with a little Easter egg, and in it were sunflower seeds. So she was very excited. We planted them, and that thing grew to like 8 feet tall. So I took a picture of her with it, and I gave it to my local librarian, and she was so thrilled because she said, thank you so much. This is just evidence that, you know, our programs have an impact, because she said, I'm being threatened that my program will close, that will end due to funding. So my question is, now that the libraries do not charge a fee, and maybe they weren't much of a revenue generator anyway, how do you keep all these, like what you're doing, you certainly, you know, brought the libraries into the 21st century, and I will admit, I'm not, now that my children are grown, I'm not a regular library goer any longer. How do you replace the pickleball paddles that people damage or never return because, you know, and books, many books are very expensive as well. So how does, without the community you know, our tax base constantly paying for those that use it but don't use it responsibly?
Right. So the pickleball example is actually an interesting one, because it's sort of an outlier. The collection, so we have the active living collection in Tecumseh, and we also have something similar in Essex. And in both of those cases, those items were donated to us by the municipality.
Oh, very good.
So that's, you know, that's one way that we, but I mean, our funding, as long as we can continue to demonstrate our relevance, the support that we get from our municipal stakeholders is fantastic. It's very rarely a matter of, in my experience so far, there's never been a concern about funding. We've never had to worry about our budgets being cut. And I should knock on something, because I'm saying this now as we head into budget season. But, you know, again, I think that's a function of the type of support that we have from our community. Our local councils all recognize that. And so, again, it's never been a concern, but we always welcome donations of, you know, because that helps to offset a lot of our costs. That's what allows us to do things like the Wonder Books, which were what I mentioned earlier, the literacy aids for early readers. But, you know, doing away with the fine, sort of the classic, you're 2 days late, you need to pay us $25 or 25 cents. That was never much of a revenue generator. And what we felt was, and I think this is a general sentiment across Canada right now, is that fines can work towards restricting access. So a family who might be struggling financially, which is, I mean, that's the place. If you're, with the cost of living being what it is, the library is a great opportunity for people.
Question. When the library purchases a book, there's a fixed cost, and it may be lent out hundreds or even thousands of times over its utility before it, you know, pages come out. How does it work with an e-book? Is there a contract that you can only lend it X number of times and you have to repurchase?
So dealing with ebook vendors, this is a heavy topic. Dealing with ebook vendors it's more like a lease. So it's almost like the library is paying a subscription in order to lend it out. We are contract bound to only lend out a certain number of copies at a time, which is a little strange. This is an ebook is a digital file, so why couldn't we distribute it? But this is sort of publishing companies and how they choose to do business, which I understand. Effectively, ebook vendors, we're essentially redirecting our patrons through our website to a vendor website, and they sort of manage all that. But essentially what it breaks down to is we get a limited number of leases for each title. And then as long as we keep paying our subscription, those titles keep being there. Thank you.
Bill.
Yeah, I was just going to point out, Adam, that when it comes to library cards, if somebody has a Windsor Public Library card, they're not cheating on the Windsor Public Library if they get an Essex County card and vice versa.
You're welcome. No. And this has actually been a hot topic recently. We have opened our doors to residents of Windsor and Chatham-Kent as well. I mean, we don't have a lot of uptake from that, in terms of Chatham-Kent, but there is quite a bit of crossover, people who have active cards in both library systems. So we don't discourage that at all. As far as we're concerned, that's just more folks making the most of our services. Yes.
Funny, for the use of the system, so in order to make use of the library system, simply go in and get a library card, or you do it digitally, or whatever it is, and are you concerned, second part of that, with everything being online nowadays, is there a concern that the libraries won't be relevant? Is that why you expand service?
What I've seen in the 15 or 20 years that I've been doing this is that the library has been very quick to pivot in the face of new technology. So one of my first jobs in the library system was doing seminars and programs on cybersecurity, which was back when that was a topic that people weren't talking very much about. We didn't see the same kind of scamming, I guess, going on. And so, you know, when we take things like digital literacy as our central mandate, that opens us up to doing all different kinds of things. And one of the things that I tell my staff is that we will try everything. Try everything once, as long as nobody gets hurt and it doesn't cost us $1 million. We'll try it once and see if it works. And you know, provided it ties to sort of the idea of learning, literacy, community engagement. So I think concerns about staying relevant are fairly easy for us to address by expanding our services. And again, I think the pickleball example is a good one. That was sort of the logic behind that didn't fit for me for a long time. But when we put it in the context of this kind of community building, encouraging active living, physical and health literacy is a different kind of literacy. So and I think that the libraries in general, Canadian libraries in particular, have been really great at sort of adapting with the times, expanding their services to stay relevant, and you know, creating a deeper engagement with the community based on their needs.
Just one question about the healthy living equipment that the libraries have. So if you sign it out, you have to return it in a certain period of time, but then if the next person is waiting for it, I mean, how do you prevent someone just, you know, hogging it, I guess, basically is the only word I can come up with.
It's the same sort of conundrum we have with any of our materials, right? Yeah. What's interesting is that not doing fines anymore hasn't created, you would think that by not having a safeguard in place, right? Like fines disincentivize keeping things for longer than you need them. You would expect that would increase that kind of hogging, and it really hasn't. You know, we send friendly reminders and sign up for email reminders, hey, your stuff is due. And those get sort of gradually more threatening as the time period goes on. Yeah. We really count on, at the end of the day, we really count on sort of mutual integrity and mutual respect, and people understanding that this is free, but you have to share.
Yeah.
So
honors. One of the lessons you learn in the sandbox.
Yeah, and I would argue that our patrons are very good. And it was the same in Windsor. We didn't have a lot of that sort of thing, and you know, people are generally pretty respectful of that, especially our regular users, because I think that everybody understands that we're all meant to use this stuff.
A comment I'd like to make is that my wife for years now in book club, her and a few of them, I don't know if they all do, but her and a few of their book club people use a list of what is in the library to choose their books, like these 5 or these 3, and they're all at the library, which means then go to the library, take the book out or book it out online, however they do it. I think that's been encouraged in that way. I think Dan McDonald on AM 800 actually has really done a lot for boosting those kind of thoughts. And I wonder if your websites or whoever actually, you know, help inflate that.
So there's 2 ways that we do online outreach. We're actually working on developing a new website right now. It's sort of been a slow process, but we're working on making it more accessible, more inviting, and more easy for people to use. Then the new mobile app that we just launched. We're getting a lot of engagement through social media as well. So, and you mentioned Dan McDonald. Dan McDonald has been an incredible champion for libraries in Windsor and Essex County over the last little while. So, you know, our online presence is definitely an important part of how we get people in, how we get people engaged. And what we're finding is that the new sort of self-service options that we're giving people to go online, to find book lists, to check things out, to place holds on things, that's led to a lot of increased sort of engagement.
One last question, please, sir. In the GTA, they lend tools for homeowners that might not have something as simple as a screwdriver or a hammer. They only need it for one task. Is the library looking at that?
We are getting there. I mean, it's actually something that the Windsor Public Library had been doing for a little while. I'm not sure that they still are. I think that was a couple of years ago now, but that's actually another sort of trend in libraries, is that library of things, right? So our pickleball court, our pickleball racket would be an example, but things like power screwdriver, like that sort of stuff. Stuff that, in the way that I look at, again, the pickleball collection and rackets and things, it's almost like a try it before you buy it, right? Or it's something that you're only going to need once, so you don't want to invest $100 in a piece of equipment. So things like tools are definitely on our radar, and we're working towards that sort of thing. You see libraries across Canada doing things like a sewing machine, which I think is very cool. Cookware, pots and pans and things like that. So we're getting there slowly but steadily. What we in Essex County Library are sort of working our way towards catching up towards the national trends in libraries, and I think we're getting.
Adam, my pleasure to listen to you, and I think everybody in here got something out of this. We, you know, learned something, which is good. I have a few gifts for you. We're a environmentally based club. This is locally sourced honey for you.
Thank you.
Not that you're not sweet enough, but
We have, right?
Yeah. And we have a whole pile of bookmarks. Now,
Oh, cool.
Rotary is governed by a 4-way test, and we put the 4-way test on our bookmarks, which is, you'll hear shortly. But here's some bookmarks, and hopefully this opens up a new chapter
That would be
of relationship for all.
That would be great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And we gotta do a photo.
A new chapter too.
Another
Wow,
one.
New chapter.
Yeah,
very funny.
Would we?
this one? He's ahead.
This one?
He's ahead already.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you better up. Yeah.
Thank you.